The following Pulpery podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Welcome to the Pulpery Politicscast with Brock and Ben. This podcast is where we discuss the political headlines that intrigue us and all those little jerks that enrage us.
We'll pick up where we were talking about Tennessee just a minute ago, being if you take away everything else and you just say, I want to live there in the mountains, it'll be beautiful, buy a bigger city.
But again, if you're from New Orleans, you would think Nashville has mountains. But
No, I'm talking about when they get into the real mountains.
Yeah, okay.
Like on the border of fucking North Carolina and shit.
Yeah.
Because I could live up there, but apparently the state is run by fascists who literally censor people on the House floor while they are debating, right? But they said they weren't debating. They were discussing a bill? Isn't that a debate?
I mean, to us it is. But when you have a brown man involved in the discussion,
they're like, no, hey, whoa, pump the brakes there, big guy. We're not debating here, which really means we didn't ask you your opinion.
Right.
What the fuck? And there were hundreds of people in the gallery. We call it a gallery, like golf?
Yeah.
Why does golf call it a gallery? Is that
I don't
technically
know.
What it is?
I guess. I don't know.
Whatever, we'll get off topic for a minute. But... And on TV, there are old white men on TV openly telling a brown dude in Congress, a duly elected guy, like he's been elected
twice,
to shut the fuck up. I didn't talk to you, son.
So the same guy that they censored, or censored, not even censured, but. Said shut up. So that's the same one. That's one of the two that they kicked out.
There were 4 total when they kicked him out, right?
No, so there were 3 that were up for expulsion, and they just happened to expel the only 2 African Americans,
brown people. Yes.
Yeah, of the 3, the other one was a white woman from Knoxville who stood firmly with her colleagues, but all 3 Democrats.
And then they got reelected.
Right, so then they had to go through, they were first reappointed by their counties.
Right.
And then had to go through special elections to then be reelected, and both one of the dudes in Memphis, Justin Jones, who's from Nashville.
So it was Memphis and Nashville.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their districts reelected them.
As they were going to no matter what.
Resoundingly. And so what this should tell the fucking Speaker of the House, Sexton, which that should
he's probably having tons of sex with minors.
Well, he's definitely got a dead body somewhere.
I'm sure if he has the balls to tell. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, no, I was gonna say, and going with that is that you have a representative there that the constituents, the citizens of your state,
right,
are saying this is the person we want there,
right, representing us, his people.
Right. So he's going to speak to that no matter what it is, and then you're going, no, stop talking.
Right.
So you're in a republic, you're denying democracy from happening.
Like, we can go to the whole First Amendment rights thing, at which some people, no, I'm not going to divide, but, some people are all about, no matter what you say, First Amendment rights. But when I think it's been, it's precedent that you're able to talk First Amendment,
if you've been recognized by the chair,
right, Right.
And then, now, it might have been that he was trying to be recognized, and then that's what they thought was ungentlemanly.
No, but he called a point of order. And that's when they said, well, there is no point of order because we're not debating, although they were in a debate for a fucking bill.
Yeah.
Because they voted on it immediately afterwards.
I mean, as far as I know, I mean, if it's open for discussion on a...
Which this clearly was.
Congressional floor, whether that's federal or state.
Right.
It is therefore a debate.
Exactly. They're not in there just discussing things. It blows my mind that we have a state, and it's happening in other places.
I was going to say,
it's happening in a lot of places.
You don't have to look too far there, brother.
Well, I mean, our mayor's husband died.
Well, no, at least in the Louisiana Statehouse, we have there are representatives of color, multiple from
correct.
the New Orleans area, from the Baton Rouge area, from the Shreveport area. There's too many.
Steve Scalise, hate your fucking guts.
Get better, buddy.
Yeah, hope you get better. That is legit. Get better. But I hate you.
We got to see you with your Mardi Gras tie in February.
Year. Every year. Every fucking year. God. You think he buys a new one?
I hope it's the same one.
So do I.
Yeah.
So do I. That his wife pulls out.
Yeah.
Like, honey.
He is a cheap enough bastard. He'd probably be that one.
Anyway, get better, buddy. Seriously, get better. So yeah, like I don't. It blows my mind that that's happening.
Yeah.
Out in the open now. Speaking of out.
And meanwhile, they refuse to do anything about gun reform after having a mass shooting. Several now at this point. Yeah.
Yep.
So, good on you, Speaker Sexton.
Speaking of speakers out in the open, we had a lot of them last Wednesday.
Saying the quiet parts out loud.
Like 9. How many were up there?
Too many.
I lost count. I really did. Nikki Haley didn't say a fucking word. She was just up there. She's like an orange cone.
Was she? Where she was. What was weird about Nikki Haley was.
Say it.
What is that? She actually took a moderate position.
Yeah, she was the voice of reason, right? Which is why she didn't get to talk a lot.
Right.
Straight up.
And then, whether they went to him or whether he spoke over people, Chris Christie's got to understand loud is not always good. Mm-hmm. He missed a huge opportunity in my mind.
But he's from that tri-state area.
Yeah.
And again, I'm fucking Italian, I know. Loud means you hear me.
Sure, yeah.
Which is why Sunday spaghetti dinners on Sundays were bad. It's like TV, women, TV. Like it was just chaos. Loved it. Kids running around. Go ahead. He did. He was the guy I was disappointed with the most. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's what I thought was like interesting about Nikki Haley is that in the little time that she was given, she was able to present an alternative from like just straight Trump. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that she's not.
I was just going to say we are giving credit to this woman.
Yeah.
But you know,
kind of hurts my soul a little bit. But
I was just about to say there are levels of shit, and she happens to be at the top.
And
on the bottom. Go ahead.
I don't even know. And then you called it before it even happened, but DePenis had a straight Homelander moment. You already called him Homelander, and then he fucking pulled it out.
He did. Like, wow.
That was the biggest thing on Twitter was his attempt to
smile.
Yeah. Mimic human feeling.
I don't know what that was. If it was a robot who like didn't have emotion built into its programming, if it's a lizard person that like its skin.
Yeah, somebody being like, you need to smile.
Right. Like, wow, that was creepy.
Or like, his stomach puppet like Quaid.
You don't know what we're talking about. I'm sorry. I feel sorry for you. We can't be friends. Wow.
This is what we mean by all points in between. We can weave Total Recall into a GOP debate.
Schwarzenegger's Total Recall at that. Wade.
What was the stomach the mutant's name though?
Oh, I don't know. It was it was who everybody was trying to get
to. Yeah.
I can't remember its name. It doesn't. Quasimodo. The Bene Tesseract. All right, circling back to DeSantos. Ron DeSanctimonious.
I like the penis. I'm sticking with that one.
Sorry. We're gonna get used to hearing that fucking name because we are gonna see him probably for the next month. He probably paid somebody to have the hurricane push toward him.
We'll get to that in the next segment, but that might be the end of him. But anyway.
So who was the other guy that I don't know his name?
Well, hold on. We can go to. Is it Vivek? I think.
Yeah. But, Vanek is what I want to keep saying, but I think he's a bad guy in a movie or something.
Ramaswamy, I think, and I'm probably we're probably super white in pronouncing that. I apologize.
Yeah, me too.
I should know better. I do have several.
I don't need to apologize for my pronunciation or butchering of the English. Say I just did it. English language.
I mean, I guess I get why people like him and why he came off as like the winner of that.
He's the outsider, which is like what that base likes. Man, he ain't a career politician. He is somebody there for the common people.
Which I guess
that's what for Republicans.
Sure, yeah.
That's their thing.
Because everybody else on that stage is part of the swamp, even though they don't want to claim that they are.
Correct.
But yeah.
Which is why.
But he's an idiot.
He's fucking. What does he do? Is he like the My Pillow guy?
Where he's the best I could describe it is he's a venture capitalist.
Oh, because those guys are fucking straight shooters.
First off, he's younger than both me and you. He's like 38.
I was going to say he has to be over 30.
35, yeah.
Oh, really? I thought it was 32.
No, 35 for president. Because that was considered old back when they wrote the Constitution.
That's what I'm saying. I've always wanted to know why there's an age thing. Except for the House and Senate, there's not, right? You just have to be an adult?
No, Senate is 30, House is 25.
25?
Yeah.
That's why we get Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, that's, go back in time and ask Alexander Hamilton and John Jay and them why they didn't give a shit about the people from the states. They wanted the older white men who controlled everything, the Senate and the president.
Correct.
And remember, they weren't elected and outright at the beginning. So, to get on a history note here, but
it's funny how that after all that time, whether Republicans and Democrats switch back and forth,
right,
there are still old white guys that are running the
holding
show.
On to power. Yes,
correct. Go ahead.
So yeah,
you get the last word.
So Tim Scott, we in our opinion, or in my opinion, I should say, I shouldn't speak for you. Christie and Scott were the ones who this was their big opening. Scott fucked it up, but he goes out there. He
didn't get a lot of time too. He might as well have been
right.
Nikki over here.
Yeah, but in the time that he had, he claims that there should be a federal ban on a woman's right to choose, and
we haven't even gotten to Mike Pence yet.
Oh well.
We'll get to him in a second. Go ahead.
But so what this is keying up my last point is that so there were several of these things, these topics that came up. So when Tim Scott mentions that, they asked the panel, and the majority of the panel is all for a federal ban. So they don't care that it's a state rights issue anymore.
No, now it is just a blanket.
Federal government should dictate to everybody,
correct,
which is that's not federalism.
So
then all but Christie and Asa Hutchinson, I'm mispronouncing his name, said that they would still support Trump if he was the nominee. Then what the fuck are you running for?
And same. Exactly. They all had to pledge allegiance to Trump.
We have been making some changes here at Pulpery. We've shortened our episodes to 30 minutes so you can catch everything we say on the drive home, on a lunch break, or at any other time. We've added video to our repertoire, and we are expanding our social media presence. So check us out on YouTube and smash that subscribe button and use the likes. You can get our socials from the link in our bio, and be on the lookout for our new Politicscast. If you need a change for your taste buds, go to thegdsauce.com and change the way you think about the way you eat. From their signature goddamn sauce to their ghost pepper sauce, they have everything you need to rethink condiments. Help support an independent business by getting rid of your same old condiments and boss up with the goddamn sauces.
I want to talk about Fani Willis.
But so I was going to lead off with, this is what should be the biggest concern, and I hate being this way as like a civics teacher, but I always like fucking tell kids, like, you need to be concerned about your local elections. Like, and even now what you're seeing with CRT claims and shit like that, school board elections are super important.
Yep. Oh,
but your state house is super fucking important. And as we see what
especially
these
if
nut bars in Georgia are
like
doing.
the Republicans like to say, it's states' rights.
Yeah, it's local.
Correct.
All politics is local.
Local. I just like to laugh at what's happening in Florida. What's happening in Georgia, however. So, apparently, just real quick, correct me if I'm wrong. Back in the spring, the Georgia Republicans, government, state, decided to pass a law that they can remove a DA for what it doesn't matter. The whole point of it was DAs who aren't prosecuting enough.
Yeah, that's Florida.
But didn't Georgia do it too? Or they're trying to model it now so that they can get rid of
I think they're trying to model it.
So because Florida did it,
yeah.
Oh, you're right, which is why DeSantis was able to get rid of those couple of DAs or prosecutors or whatever they were.
Right.
Which they had to be state.
Which, again, another thing that's popping up, circumvents democracy.
Correct.
These are elected officials. These aren't appointed officials.
Right.
And so you're then saying to their constituents,
I don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, I don't agree with the person you elected, so we're going to get rid of them, and then we're going to keep doing it until you elect somebody I like. That's
and if it goes too long, if we get to like the fourth vote, then I'm just going to have to appoint somebody because I can't have that vacancy there.
Yeah.
That's what it ends up.
Or you do what Mississippi did in Jackson and go, we're just going to appoint a secret court that does everything.
Who gets together in not a basement. Right. They don't have them there either. And changes locks on doors and stuff.
Yeah.
What the fuck? That terrifies me.
And with like Georgia, like, it's so transparent what you're doing.
Yes. The whole Meadows trying to get it moved to federal, which is going to change. It's not just like, okay, it's pardonable after the fact, but it just jury pool everything. Like location, judge, like all of that changes.
Yeah.
It's not just, we're trying to get it there, but yeah. And she keeps she keeps saying all 19 are going to come together.
And I was going to say, like, I don't know how that. I mean, if you look at her record, and even like when Trump was showing up for his mugshot,
right?
Like MSNBC was going off on the DA about how she's overstepping, or at least to them she's overstepping lines and prosecuting too many African Americans for this, that, or the other. And granted, that's news media doing their thing, but
the whole point of the RICO is, right? Hasn't anybody seen?
Well, she's got a RICO case on like 3 drug kingpins in Atlanta. Yeah.
Nobody's seen. What's the second?
So she's clearly doing her job.
What's the Joker Batman, Christopher Nolan. Which one was that? Batman, the second one.
The Dark Knight.
Okay. They tried to... You know how they caught all of those people? The RICO. You know why?
You mean Carmen Falcone and them?
Exactly. If you could charge one, you could charge them all. That's what Maggie Gyllenhaal says.
But that's what...
to Two-Face.
I guess apparently they don't believe this exists, but that's what Giuliani got most of the mob bosses on when he worked in the Southern District.
It's been going on since...
mob bosses.
Don Corleone.
Yeah. But that was half of The Godfather too.
Right.
Rico.
That's it. That RICO was created to stop.
Right. Mobs. Because you can't. The boss can't just sit there and be like, "Hey, I didn't tell anybody what to do. They're just doing it on themselves. They just sit up here." Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. That's how they stop that. Which is how they've got Trump, the figurehead of all this. I don't understand. And then I want to... Because then it's not just the state that's doing that. Now you've got Jim Jordan and them openly, out in the fucking open, saying, I'm going to interfere in a state case.
Right.
Which there's absolutely nothing in any of the fucking country's documents that say... That he can do that. It actually says the opposite.
Going back to Tim Scott at the debate is that I'm not going to try and lump every single Republican in there, but crazy conservatives will sit there and say states' rights until it doesn't fit their agenda, and then it's the federal government has to do everything.
There are certain states that aren't listening to us.
Right.
So we're going to have to just go ahead and blanket everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Tim Scott
Did
said.
you say Tim Cotton?
No, I said Tim Scott.
No, I'm just... Sorry.
Don't pull me into that.
I'm not.
But yeah, it's saying that, well, if these other states won't do what we want them to do, then we have to outlaw whatever it is they want to do. It's like, well, then you're denying states' rights, which is the fundamental half of what the Constitution is about anyway.
Which is the argument that they use, those psychopath Republicans.
Right, to get what they want.
To get what they want. They're like, oh, state rights. Except when it doesn't fit their thing, and then they're just going to flip it around. Which, well, okay, here. Because I'm not going to fucking grind my teeth over this. What really grinds my gears? No, we'll get to this hurricane that's about to carve its way through Florida.
Yeah. That's actually where, by the way, skirted past Cuba is a Category 1. And as it makes landfall,
it's like
turns into a Category 2.
4.
Yeah. So this should worry every fucking human on the planet.
Correct.
Because when hurricanes make landfall, they're supposed to weaken, not get stronger. That tells you how hot the fucking Florida waters are.
This thing went between two giant bodies of land and did not weaken at all. It was like, oh, tropical storm, and then this bitch, Idalia, whatever the fuck her name is. You know, I is the most retired name for hurricanes.
Interesting.
You know that if one happens, they retire that name.
Yeah.
I is the one.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that until today. And then I went back and I was like, I can think of 3 or 4 I's in my lifetime.
Well, Ida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At any rate, so I want to see how Florida handles this. Joe Biden came out and was like, it's all good. The federal government's got you.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's only so far that they can do when it's a state where every insurance company has pulled out of.
Correct. Your state is uninsurable. Yep.
So, like, I mean, that's a huge bill for the federal government.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, we're gonna let
that you would have to rebuild half a state.
Yeah, exactly.
It's bananas.
That they just went through where they 86'd basically south of where this hurricane's going to hit.
Yeah.
It's like Tampa's the line. It's like above Tampa is just about to get 86'd as below Tampa did. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I think.
And they're still worried about or are concerned with building back.
Right. And then also, so like for instance, how is DePenis going to be this stalwart of Trumpism, and he gets one of the biggest bailouts from, sneaky Joe Biden? Or
it's like what cunt? I mean, sorry. Sarah Huckabee Sanders did in Arkansas when she was like, "We will not take federal money." Oh my God, a tornado hit. Can I have some money, please? It's like a kid. Fine, I don't need your money, Mom. Fuck, I'm out of pot. Mom, can I borrow like $12? I'm out. I need to get that dime bag. Like,
I need some cigarettes.
Right, like that's what that is. So we're about to find out.
Yeah.
Like you said before we came, Ron,
DePenis.
The douche. Ron, the douchebag, is about to fuck around and find out.
Well, yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying is that...
What happened...
He's already losing support. And then on top of this is that you clearly show... And this is... you're now having an event that's going to show that you don't know how to manage your state.
While also taking away from your time campaigning.
Yeah.
So when that time comes in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like after everything's passed and things have calmed down, except for the motherfuckers who got destroyed.
Yeah.
Are you going to hang out in your state and take care of those people, or are you going to go campaigning? Exactly.
I would bet he goes campaigning.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You can have all of my money in my house and my both cars that he goes campaigning before the end of the... Like, seriously, it's happening.
Will he wear his waders on the campaign trail?
Oh, I hope so. And I also hope
his Dallas Cowboy cheerleader boots.
I hope that he also, speaking of them, I'll get to them in a second. I hope he fixes his reptilian skin there, motherfucker. So speaking of the Dallas, the cowgirls, the cheerleaders, right? Well, whatever. So, they passed that law about, like, sexual activity out in public and drag shows. Technically, they're strippers. They're just not taking their clothes off. You going to 86 them? Jerry Jones going to let you 86 them?
No, not in a million.
Okay, then. What's the fucking difference?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Except those cowgirls. What do they call them? The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders?
Yeah,
But I thought they were known as something else. They're the cowgirls. They fuck cows. So I wish to God people who go to the Cowboys games would all write to Mr. Abbott and be like, I don't agree with the cheerleaders on this field.
Well,
it's sexualizing.
I think you're asking for too much there.
Bingo.
Now, if they...
I'm going to say it while you think. The only reason that they would yell is because they're not young enough.
Yeah. Or...
I don't want no 20-year-old. I need a fresh meat 16-year-old out there.
Or if one of them had transitioned.
Oh.
And like before they couldn't tell the difference, but because they went and read the bio or something.
Right.
And then all of a sudden now it's like, I used to find her attractive, but now that I know, no. Gotta stop. She was
Samuel before, now she's just Sammy?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would lose her. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The hypocrisy.
I mean, God forbid something threatened their concept of sexuality, but
That's just the yin and the yang.
Yeah, but that's what I find interesting about this approaching hurricane is that DeSantis makes him out to be this big swinging dick. And you're going like, well, first off, Bob Iger of Disney just owned your ass.
Facts.
And you backed the fuck down. And then you just were seen on stage looking like you were passing a stone.
I will finish with this, because Heather Bell, we love you. My father-in-law is in Sarasota.
The following Pulpery podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Pulpery is a privately produced podcast by Brock Ryder and Ben Grimmie, on social media and photography by Beck Ryder, original music by the Heisenberg Compensators.